Previously on Starborn, the Orion prophecy, you saw Aratina face the enigmatic Orion inside the eerie, dead-silent halls of the Orion Villa Hotel in Ravenwood, Oregon. Standing her ground, she boldly warned him that she was a national-level archery champion who doesn't miss, hiding a knife in her sock as a last line of defense. Demonstrating terrifying, inhuman speed, Orion instantly pinned Aratina against the wall. Rather than harming her, he kept her trapped, forcing her to confront her deepest fears of control, confinement, and the overprotective chains of men like Alec. When Orion brought up the history of legendary medieval archers, Aratina fiercely shot back, explaining that her skills are meant to protect wildlife, not conquer it. This deep respect for the wild shifted something within Orion, prompting a brief moment of quiet, intense connection between the two. As an ominous, echoing howl rolled through the mountain woods, both felt a primordial pull. Urging her to leave for her own safety, Orion backed away. Aratina drew her blade, offering a parting warning. Next time, don't underestimate the girl who walks alone, as the forces of a cruel and ancient fate took note of their crossed paths.
Morning came to Ravenwood like a reluctant apology. Mist clung to the pine-lined roads, curling around vintage pickup trucks and shuttered cafes that wouldn't open for another hour. Sunlight filtered through the clouds in pale ribbons, touching the slate rooftops of the town's outskirts and the sprawling stone and glass structure of the Orion Villa Hotel. Orion woke to emptiness. The bed beside him was cold, untouched. No lingering scent of fear, no warmth, only the faint trace of something else, wild, clean, like rain-soaked earth and moonlit forests. She was gone. For reasons he didn't understand, the realization carved deeper than it should have. Orion rose, pulling on a black shirt as the echoes of the night returned in fragments, silver eyes reflected in terror, defiance sharpened into courage, a voice that spoke of wilderness as something sacred, as if the wild belonged to itself. His jaw tightened. The phone vibrated on the nightstand. "Speak," Orion said, already knowing who it was. "Master," Sirius's voice came through, steady, controlled, but edged with urgency. "Your father has arrived." Orion froze. The word father tasted like salt and iron. "You didn't stop him," Orion said flatly. "I couldn't," Sirius replied. "He came with the Tide Guard and a royal seal." The air in the room seemed to thicken. "Where?" Orion asked. "The eastern wing. He's waiting." The call ended. Orion stood still for several seconds, then exhaled slowly, as if bracing against an invisible current. The eastern wing of the villa had been sealed for years. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked a private lake fed by underground streams. The water shimmered unnaturally, its surface unnervingly calm despite the breeze outside. A man stood by the window, tall, broad-shouldered. His presence alone bent the space around him. Dark hair streaked with silver fell past his collar, and his eyes, deep, endless blue, held the weight of oceans and centuries. King Thalasar of the Abyssal Crown turned as Orion entered. Father and son faced each other across the polished marble floor. "So," Thalasar said, his voice low and rolling like waves striking stone, "the lost Alpha still hides among humans." Orion's lips curled. "Funny. I don't recall abdicating my right to choose exile." "You were born to rule," Thalasar snapped, "not to play hotelier in a forgotten mountain town." "I was born cursed," Orion shot back, "by a royal bloodline that couldn't decide whether to drown me or crown me." The lake outside rippled violently. Sirius stood near the door, silent, his posture rigid with loyalty and unease. Thalasar's gaze softened, just slightly. "You survived," he said. "That alone proves what you are." Orion laughed once, bitterly. "You mean how I was born?" The memory rose unbidden. A storm-torn night, a queen screaming not in pain but defiance. The sea itself is clawing at the cliffs beneath the royal stronghold. Orion had not been born in a bed. He had been born in water. They said Queen Uriele, last daughter of the Moontide line, had prayed to the sea when her time came. They said the waves rose and wrapped around her, sheltering her from death. They said the child emerged untouched by salt or current. They said the sea itself bowed. From that night on, Orion could walk through water without sinking. Rivers parted for him, storms answered his rage, and the wolves had howled. An alpha had been born, not claimed by land alone, but by tide and Fang. "You feared me," Orion said now, voice tight. "Because I wasn't just a royal heir. I was something older, something that didn't kneel." Thalassar stepped closer. "I feared what the others would do to you. The council saw an abomination, a wolf bound to the sea. They whispered rebellion, usurpation." "And you let them," Orion said. "I let you live," Thalassar said quietly. Silence stretched, heavy with years of blood and betrayal. "The crown needs you," Thalassar continued. "The alphas are fracturing, the old laws are breaking, and something ancient has begun to stir." Orion's silver eyes darkened. "I'm done with royal wars," he said. "Done with crowns and councils." Thalassar studied him. Then his gaze shifted, sharp, knowing. "You've already been marked," he said. Orion's breath hitched. "The girl," Thalassar went on, "the one who came here last night." Orion's control slipped for just a second. Sirius felt it. The windows trembled. "She is not part of this," Orion growled. Thalassar smiled slowly. "No," he said. "She is the reason it has begun." Outside, the lake surged, waves crashing violently against the shore. The alpha who ruled the tides had been found, and the crown would not let him go again. Thalassar left soon after, his presence lingering like salt on skin long after the tide had withdrawn. The eastern wing fell silent once more, the lake slowly calming as if nothing monumental had been said.